With Magic's next set, March of the Machine, every pack is going to have a guaranteed legendary creature reprint from Magic's past that won't be standard legal but will be in standard packs, and will be in the showcase frame matching the creature's home. They've already shown off 2 of them, that being the original Atraxa and Ragavan. Both of these are fairly pricey cards, with Ragavan being a $70 card and Atraxa going for around 20 bucks. These are being reprinted in a standard set where packs are going for about $4 a piece. But it's not part of the main set, and the distribution of mythics to uncommons in the slot will lead to less Ragavans being printed over other cards. So, will it have a major impact on the price of those reprinted cards, or will it instead just alter an alternative version of the cards with special frames and art, keeping the prices about the same but with alternate versions? Well, we actually have some precedent for a reprint method like this. Both the recently released Brothers War and the past Strixhaven sets have both had sheets like this, with Brothers War having a retro artifact sheet and Strixhaven having a mystical archive that acted as an instant and sorcery sheet. So I decided to dive into the prices and see how those reprints affected the cards chosen. Let's take a look, starting with Strixhaven's Mystical Archive. Now, there are 2 types of high-value reprints that can be found in the Mystical Archive reprint sheet. Cards that are very powerful and therefore have lots of demand, causing higher prices. And the second type, cards that are not the most powerful cards but have a low supply, also leading to high prices. For the Mystical Archive, this took the form of Demonic Tutor for the powerful and high-demand card, and Tainted Pact as the not as universally powerful and low supply card. It's actually really interesting to see what happens to the cards after release. Let's start with Demonic Tutor. The cheapest version of Demonic Tutor was going for about $70 per card before the reprint. The actual reprint went for about $60 as a pre-order, and then the price dropped all the way down to $40 after the set actually came out. Since then, the prices have slowly crept up to about $50. That's a pretty heavy reduction in value. The price dropped by about 43%, which is good for players who want to get their hands on one of the best tutor spells in all of Magic. With this, it's pretty obvious that reprints seem to drop by about 40 to 50%. However, that's not always the story. Let's take a look at the actual most expensive reprint from Strixhaven's Mystical Archive, Tainted Pact. The card was pre-ordering for about $69.99, and before the pre-order was going for about $100 per card. It then quickly dropped to about $10 per card. That's a 90% reduction in value. So what's the major difference? Well, Tainted Pact was a card that, while part of a powerful Thoracle combo, was only ever printed in Odyssey, leading to a very high price tag. Demonic Tutor, on the other hand, has been reprinted time and time again, but still keeps going up in price because it's a card that any black deck would love to run. Now, looking at the more recent example of the Brothers War retro artifacts, we see a very similar number. The most expensive card in the reprint sheet was Mox Amber, which was going for about $60 before the reprint and dropped to about $32 after. So, following this, we should expect Ragavan to drop from its current price of $70 to about $35 to $40. But does Ragavan fit into the same category as Mox Amber and Demonic Tutor? Well, it's interesting because Ragavan is arguably one of the most powerful creatures in the game, but he's also only been printed in one set, that being Modern Horizons 2. But that apparently was one of the best-selling sets of all time, and that wasn't that far in the past. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic. Is this a supply issue or is it a demand issue? And I think it's actually a little bit of both. Modern Horizons 2 sold great, but it was an expensive set, so I expect that it'll be similar to Mox Amber, which also had never seen a reprint and dropped by about 50% as well. Although it is important to note that Mox Amber was originally printed in Dominaria, never saw a reprint, and then was reprinted in Brothers War, where Modern Horizons 2 was a lot more expensive, but also more recent. It's an interesting dynamic, and I may make a video after the set comes out actually diving into what happened with all the prices. But either way, let's move away from Ragavan, who I believe will land around $40 after the set comes out, and talk about the broader question. Do the Multiversal Legend reprints matter? Yes, they do. They matter a lot. And a lot of it actually comes down to the non-Ragavans of the set. Even look at something like Atraxa. $20 for a single card is insane. But if we look at the Brothers War retro artifacts and the Strixhaven Mystical Archives, we see that even the cheaper cards have a big effect. And I actually think it has a more important effect. $40 for a singular card is still expensive, and it kind of takes 2 different types of Magic players. There's the Magic players that are going to try and build the best deck, and so $40 for a card, while a lot, and it being cheaper is good, it may not have changed the fact that they were going to buy a Ragavan anyway. anyway. But taking a card from something like $20 and bringing it to something like 10 or 5 makes it accessible to a whole new group of people who just on principle won't spend that much for a singular card. Look at cards like Helm of the Host from the Retro Artifact sheet. That was a card that was creeping up there in price, but has now firmly been reduced in price and is a lot more accessible for players. And I think this is going to be really great for that. Let's also talk about the type of card that it is. They are legendary creatures. We've seen artifacts, we've seen instants and sorceries, but now we're basically getting a commander version of it. Commander is the most popular format in the game by a landslide, and so the most important piece of that is the legendary creatures. Not only are they going to be introducing brand new alternate styles, which can be really fun to bling out your Commander deck with, but they're making the most important part of a deck the most accessible, and I think that's a really, really great thing for the game overall. Obviously, a lot of this is personal opinion, but I'm really excited for the $5, $10, $20 cards that get brought down to something like $2, $5, or $10, rather than Ragavan, which is going from 80 or 70 down to 35 or 40. So yeah, that's what I think is really important. Now, I know this video is going to get comments like, "We don't like reprints," from a lot of the people who see Magic as a collectible or as a way to make money. I want to say, I value Magic as a game first, and I'll be doing a video where I break down this issue in more detail soon, so stay tuned for that. But yes, these reprints are going to matter. A lot of the time we see reprints of high value cards in Masters product where boosters go for 15 to 20 bucks a piece and the print runs are limited. These are not that. These are print to demand, meaning as long as people are buying, they keep printing more. In addition, these are $4 booster packs, meaning that the pure quantity of them is much higher than sets like Double Masters 2022, which again went for much higher per pack. And the last thing, and the thing that is most important, is that this is a standard set. Most people, no matter the format they play, pay attention and open packs from standard sets. Whether it just be a pre-release or to play at a local F&M, standard sets get into the hands of the most players, meaning that those cards will get to players, not necessarily collectors. So even if people aren't looking to buy singles, this is getting high-power, fun cards that can be commanders into the hands of people who are actually going to play them. Not like Masters, which often gets high-value cards into the hands of people just looking to make a profit. Overall, the Legendary Creature bonus sheet from March of the Machines is a great inclusion that serves to make Commander and the game in general an easier place to play and provide much-needed reprints. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Multiversal Legends sheets and reprints as a whole in the comments down below, and I want to know, what cards do you want to see in this reprint sheet? Again, I think they should be choosing cards that people want. They don't have to be expensive, they just have to be desired. I am worried that this sheet is going to be full of a lot of legendary creatures that no one cares about, instead of getting the cards that people actually want to play with. I'm hoping for cards like Joda, personally, as someone who loves that card, but overall, cards that have high impact would be ones that, you're going to see at lots and lots of tables. Let's take things like Muldrotha, or, take the most popular commanders from EDHREC and make sure that those are in there. Now, I am a little worried that we're going to be limited on what we get based on what showcase frames we have. If there's a legendary from a plane that doesn't have a showcase frame, are they going to get a Multiversal Legend? That's something I am worried about, but we'll just have to wait and see. Again, let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll see you in the next one.